Jennifer Aniston finally confesses. He was the love of my life. Jennifer Aniston has finally broken her silence. And what she just revealed is sending shockwaves through Hollywood. For over 30 years, the world thought they knew everything about Jennifer Aniston. Her heartbreaks, her marriages, her divorces, her most famous loves. We all assumed it was Brad Pitt. Then it was Justin Theroux, maybe even Vince Vaughn or John Mayer along the way. But in her most vulnerable interview yet, Jen just admitted something nobody saw coming. The absolute love of her life was not Brad. It was not Justin. It was someone else entirely. A secret relationship she guarded for decades. A romance that defined her, broke her, and changed her forever. So who is this mystery man? And why is she only talking about him now? Stay with me, because we are diving deep into the hidden romance Hollywood tried to bury. The childhood wound that created it. And the shocking truth about why Jennifer Aniston refused to call Brad Pitt the love of her life. This is the story you were never supposed to hear. Abandoned at 9. The wound that shaped her. Before the glamorous red carpets. Before the billion-dollar Friends checks. Before the most watched divorce in history. Jennifer Aniston learned one brutal lesson at just 9 years old. People you love the most can walk away. Jennifer Joanna Aniston was born on February 11th. 1969 in Sherman Oaks, California. She was Hollywood royalty from day one. Her father was John Aniston, a soap opera legend. Her mother was Nancy Dow, an actress and model. Her godfather was Telly Savalas from Kojak. With Greek, Italian, Irish, and Scottish roots, she was literally born to be in front of a camera. But the spotlight came with a price. When Jen was 9, her parents divorced, and her father, the man she idolized, packed his bags and left. Just like that. No warning. One day he was there, the next day he was gone. Imagine being 9 years old and watching your hero walk out the door. That kind of abandonment doesn't just hurt. It rewires your brain. It teaches you that love is temporary. That security is an illusion. That if you get too close to someone, they will eventually leave. Young Jennifer buried that pain deep. She threw herself into acting. At 11, she found the stage. By high school at LaGuardia School of Performing Arts in New York, she was doing Chekhov and Hansberry. But off stage, she was working 3 jobs to survive. Telemarketer, waitress, bike messenger in New York traffic. She did everything she could to avoid becoming dependent on anyone. Because the last time she depended on someone, he left. That wound would follow her into every relationship, every marriage, every headline. The struggle before Friends. Hollywood was not kind to Jennifer at first. She booked roles and watched them get canceled. Malloy, Ferris Bueller, The Edge, muddling through. For shows. For failures. She hit rock bottom in the early 90s. She was broke, depressed, and ready to quit. In one famous story, she ran into NBC executive Warren Littlefield at a gas station and begged him not to give up on her. He told her to keep going. A few months later, she auditioned for a new NBC sitcom. They wanted her to play Monica. She played Rachel instead. And television history was made. From 1994 to 2004, Friends became the biggest show on earth. The Rachel haircut. The coffee shop. The will they won't they with Ross. Jennifer Aniston became America's sweetheart. By the final season, she was making $1 million per episode. She won an Emmy. She won a Golden Globe. But while the world saw the smiling girl next door, inside Jen was still that 9-year-old girl scared of being left behind. The first love no one talks about. Long before Brad Pitt, before the fame, Jennifer had a love that almost no one remembers. Actor Daniel McDonald. They dated for 5 years in her early 20s. Before Friends. Before the money. Before the fame. In interviews years later, Jen called him her first love. She said he could have been the one if she hadn't been so young and reckless. They broke up right before Friends premiered. She has said that his memory pushed her to chase happiness harder because she didn't want to lose love again. Hollywood buried this story because it wasn't messy enough. It wasn't Brad Pitt. But for Jen, Daniel was the first time she let her guard down. And when it ended, it confirmed her deepest fear. Even real love can end. Brad Pitt. The fairy tale that became a war zone. In 1998, Jennifer met Brad Pitt. They were set up by their managers. Both were single. Both were at the top of their game. The chemistry was instant. They hid their relationship for months, then debuted at the 1999 Emmys. Brad in sunglasses, Jen in a sequin dress. The world lost its mind. In 2000, they got married on a beach in Malibu. 200 guests, 50,000 flowers, 13 minutes of fireworks, $1 million dress. Brad designed her engagement ring himself. For 5 years, they were Hollywood's golden couple. Jen started talking about babies. She said she was ready to slow down. Brad was making movies. They even started a production company together called Plan B. Then in 2005, it all collapsed. Brad was filming Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Angelina Jolie. Rumors started. Photos leaked. By January, Jen and Brad announced their separation. By October, the divorce was final. And just like that, the most famous couple in the world was over. What happened next broke Jennifer. The media didn't just report the divorce. They picked a side. Team Aniston versus Team Jolie. Tabloids ran headlines calling Jen the victim, calling her barren, calling her cold. Jen did something remarkable. She didn't fight back. She said the marriage ended because they both wanted to be happy. She said nobody did anything wrong. She took the high road. But behind closed doors, she was shattered. She later admitted the divorce cracked her open. She went to therapy. She starred in a movie called The Breakup. She turned her pain into art. And through it all, the world kept asking her one question. Was Brad Pitt the love of your life? And for 20 years, she refused to answer. The rebounds, the marriages, the heartbreaks. After Brad, Jen dated Vince Vaughn. The paparazzi destroyed it. She dated John Mayer. He was too young and too messy. She married Justin Theroux in a secret ceremony in 2015. They were best friends. They were perfect. They divorced 3 years later and somehow stayed best friends. Then came the Friends reunion. In the moment that broke the internet, David Schwimmer admitted on camera that he and Jen had crushes on each other during season 1 and 2. That their first kiss was on the show. Fans went crazy. Was Ross the real love? Was it always meant to be? Jen smiled and said they chose to channel that energy into the characters instead. Because some loves are better left as art. But still, no one was calling her the love of her life. The secret she kept for 30 years. So if it wasn't Brad, if it wasn't Justin, if it wasn't David, then who? In her new interview, Jennifer finally said his name, Daniel McDonald. She explained that when you are 20 years old and in love for the first time, before fame ruins everything, that love hits different. It is pure. It is reckless. It is the version of you that still believes people don't leave. She said Daniel taught her what love felt like before Hollywood taught her what heartbreak felt like. She said she guarded that relationship because it was the last time she felt safe. She said, he was the love of my life. Not because it lasted, but because it changed me. Think about that. The woman who was married to Brad Pitt. The woman the world obsessed over for decades. Says her greatest love was a man most people have never heard of. Why? Because he was before the cameras. Before the headlines. Before the world told her who to be. The infertility battle she hid. While the world speculated about why Jen and Brad didn't have kids, Jennifer was fighting a private war. She just revealed she went through years of IVF. Chinese teas. Hormones. Everything. She said she wishes someone had told her to freeze her eggs when she was younger. She slammed the tabloids for calling her selfish for not having children. She said it was the most painful part of the Brad divorce. That people assumed she chose career over family. The truth was, she wanted a family more than anything. She just couldn't make it happen. And she suffered in silence for decades. That is why the Daniel story matters so much. Because it was the last time she felt hope without fear. Jennifer Aniston today. Healing outside of Hollywood. For the first time in years, Jennifer is dating outside of Hollywood. His name is Jim Curtis. He is a wellness coach, a hypnotherapist, an author. He is not famous. He doesn't chase paparazzi. He works with celebrities, but he is not one. They were spotted on a yacht in Mallorca. Then at dinners with Courtney Cox. Then Jim posted her birthday tribute online. Jen posted him from behind on Instagram. Friends say Jen is glowing, that Jim gives her the calm she never had, that he is secure enough to love her without being blinded by her fame. After 30 years of public relationships, Jen finally found peace in private. Why this confession matters. Jennifer Aniston spent her entire career being defined by men. Brad's wife, Justin's wife, Ross's